Hello, boys and girls. I'm back with day 6 in your learning packet. And if you'll also turn to page 200 in your reading book, this is the vocabulary that will be in the story, The Journey, Stories of Migration. I mentioned in one of my other previous videos that it's really important that you read each of these vocabulary cards and think about these words and how they're used before you actually look them up in the glossary. Because I'm sure that by using context clues or the clues in the sentence, you can figure out what a lot of these words mean on your own. Just like we do in class when we're reading stories and we come to words that we don't know. I'm going to read these. Migrate, survival, plenty, frightening, accidents, solid, chilly, landscape, thunderous, and dramatic. Now I'm going to pick one randomly over here from this side. I'm going to pick thunderous. A herd of caribou makes a very loud, thunderous sound as it runs. Now, if I did not know what thunderous meant, I can look for clues. A herd of caribou makes a very loud, thunderous sound. So since I see the word loud and then a comma, and right after it the word thunderous, a lot of times that's the author's way of telling me that that's what that word actually means. And yes, boys and girls, thunderous does mean a loud sound or having to do with something that's loud. And of course, when we think about thunderous, or we look at that word, the root word thunder is a noun that we're very familiar with. We know that when it thunders, there's a loud noise in the sky. So that's another clue for me that thunderous is a loud sound. And then on your sheet, you should have written all of these definitions. And of course, I did not do those for you because those were easy for you to complete and then check in the glossary. I did complete number 1, which is migrate, or to move from place to place. And then we have day 6 continued, where you had to read this short paragraph that had a lot of M and N words in it. I do want to show you the answers to most of these. I know some of these you already knew. Boys and girls, in class, when we covered the prefix M and the prefix N, we learned that they mean not. But I told you that they also have other meanings. We were just not focusing on those meanings. But since it's in this packet, I want to go over it. The prefix M can actually mean in and or into, in addition to not. Now, I know that you got not number 1, but impossible correct, because we know that impossible means not possible or can't be done. Implanted in the text actually has to do with being placed or put into something. Placed or put into something. And when we go back to the text, it says a strong feeling implanted in the butterflies tells them to fly south in the fall and north in the spring. So if they have this feeling that's been implanted in them, then it's been planted from within. Not planted like an actual plant, but it's something that is in them as in an instinct or something that they feel. So it's just been placed or put into something is what it means in this context. And then, of course, immigrate has to do with moving into a new place. immigrate would be moving into a new place or traveling to a new place. And I did not write those there because I had a feeling that you probably knew those. Incomplete, that was one of our vocabulary words, and I know that you remember that because I believe that was on one of our spelling tests right before we got out of school. Incomplete means not complete or not finished. Incoming means coming in this context. And then inside means the side that's in. And incredible here, actually, you would not say not credible. But if something were not credible, then it would not be believable. So that's why Miss Clyett wrote not believable or unbelievable is actually what it means in this context. Okay, and then of course, boys and girls, this Venn diagram goes with the stories of migration. And real quick, I hope before you are reading your stories that you, after reading the vocabulary cards and previewing and studying the vocabulary, that you actually take the time to read the background information. The background information does use the target vocabulary words, but it also gives you some more background or prior knowledge about this topic before you actually start reading the story. So it will help you understand the story better. And I'm sure if you took the time to look at all the pages before the story that you actually did notice the Venn diagram here. Miss Clyett was thinking, oh gee, they didn't really explain what a Venn diagram is here, but it is explained here in the text on page 203. Okay, so boys and girls, what you're supposed to do is make sure that whenever you are, let me go back here for just a second, I'm sorry. So it tells you here to find out how a locust migration compares to that of a gray whale. What is the same and what is different about these experiences? Use a Venn diagram like this one to compare details about how locusts and whales migrate. So that's what you were supposed to be thinking about as you were filling this out, boys and girls, is how are the locust and whale migration alike and different? How are the locust and whale migration alike and different? So on the left side, you would write about what is true about just the locust migration. On the right side, you would write about what is true for just the whale migration. And then in the middle, you're going to write about how they are alike. I did one here as an example. I know, boys and girls, that you're going to have a lot of different answers, but they can be true answers as long as it's true in the text. I just picked one thing to write about as far as how they travel. The locusts are animals that travel by land. And of course, if you read the story, you know that locusts actually change or morph from being a grasshopper. When grasshoppers can't find enough food, they actually turn into sort of a mean grasshopper, which is called a locust. They look different and they act different. They really turn into, they go from being calm, quiet, peaceful grasshoppers to sort of wild grasshoppers that are willing to attack or do whatever they have to in order to find food. But one of the first things I thought about was that a locust migration takes place on land, whereas a whale migration takes place in the water or by ocean. One way in which they are alike is they both travel or migrate in search of food. So boys and girls, there's lots of different answers that you could put for these. I would like, though, for you to have at least 3 facts about the locust migration and then 3 facts about the whale migration. In the middle, I listed 1, but I want you to put at least 1 more way. Put another bullet here. Okay. That's not very neat. Miss Clayette's trying to do this and video at the same time. Okay. So make sure, boys and girls, in your or on your Venn diagram that you write 3 ways or 3 facts about the locust migration that are different from 3 facts about the whale migration. So think about, what is the locust migration like? Where do they travel? How do they travel? What are they looking for? And then why are the whales migrating? What are some facts that are unique or special just to the whales? So on both of the sides, you're thinking about how they're different, and in the middle, you're thinking about how they're alike. Boys and girls, I don't know why this is here, this blank page. I think I had a couple of these in my packet, or maybe I just had them out of order. Okay, and then day 8 says write a summary of what the person you interviewed would do if they were one of the animals preparing for winter. And that goes with day 8 in your packet. Let Miss Clayette go back and look real quick. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video for now, and then I'll pick up in just a second.